What's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazy Frankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 7 4 key game picks. Kind of bear with me a little bit here. This time of the year is not a good time for me health-wise because this is where I'm dealing with allergies right now. So if my voice sounds a little bit not from the ordinary, it's because I'm battling some allergies right now. So bear with me. My voice sounds a little bit not the usual, but I'm trying to hang in there and I want to get this video done so I can get this posted up this week. Quick week 6 stocks because I want to get into my week 7 picks. The Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Going to Seattle and they just dominated the Seahawks. I have never seen anything like it. This is a Seahawk team that is very good at home, and I did not think that they would be badly dominated the entire game. Give the Cowboys defense a ton of credit. They stopped Russell Wilson and that entire offense, and Seattle's defense. Give credit to Tony Romo that they were able to attack the defense. I mean, this is a Dallas Cowboy team that's really on a roll. Could they be a top seed in the NFC conference? I really don't know what to say about that because I need to see them more to play in their own division right now. I know they got their next game coming up is going to be against the Giants, but that's not what I'm going to talk about in one of my key game picks. That one will be saved for my writing blog. Let's see what else happened in week 6. Peyton Manning, 3 touchdowns away. He's 3 touchdowns away from breaking Brett Favre's touchdown record for most touchdowns in a ever. Well, obviously he and the Broncos went on a roll against the Jets last week, and I don't know what else to say about this New York Jets team. They are terrible. Besides the Jets are not the most terrible. I mean, we all know the worst team in the league right now is really the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you have to throw the Jets in there. I mean, they really stink. And as far as I know, will this be? Well, I thought originally after that game, I thought Rick Ryan was going to be fired, but it would not surprise me if it comes down to it after their game against the Patriots, and it's a Thursday night game too. And I really feel for the Jets right now, but boy, they're going to get demolished in that game because the game is in New England, and we all know that's going to come out terribly for this team. I want a little bit of a rant here. Now, anybody who knows me on a personal level, I'm a Chargers fan. And what Oakland did up there is just classless. I mean, what do you expect from Raider fans? They're the most classless fan base in the NFL. I never seen. Look, I know their history. I know they have Super Bowls, blah, 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 blah. But really, they got no class whatsoever. They egged the San Diego Chargers bus on over last weekend, and that to me was just terrible. But in the end, the Chargers ended up winning in a squeaker. That to me was a little bit of a shocker to me, but it was kind of not surprising to me because I understand the Chargers' next opponents are going to be tough. And it was a real test for them to see how they do in close games. Obviously, there were some season-ending injuries for some players. Victor Cruz was one of them. Anybody who saw the Sunday night game, oh boy. You hate to see that happen to very popular players, and I wish Victor Cruz the best. I hope he gets healthy as soon as possible. But really, that was just a brutal injury. I know Riley for the Patriots also is out for the season-ending injury. He tore his ACL. It was really tough to say what from everything that happened in week 6, but I think probably the one thing I will bring up, and a couple things though. Pittsburgh getting shut out by Cleveland. Pittsburgh losing to Cleveland 31-10. That to me was a total shocker to me. Well, what can I say? I didn't think this Pittsburgh Steelers the team would be this bad. I didn't think they'd be this bad, even though yet they're still in the division. They're still in it in the AFC North division, but it's just not really to what a lot of people in Pittsburgh were hoping for better results. But what can I say? This Pittsburgh team is not what they are. They're not what they should be. Aaron Rodgers, game-tying touchdown at the end of the game against the game-winning touchdown against the Dolphins. What can I say about that? This Green Bay Packer team, they're starting to get on a roll. They know they're battling for first place with the Lions, and don't count out the Chicago Bears. They won over the Falcons last week. That NFC North division is going to get even crowded. And we have a tie this season. The Panthers and the Bengals played to a 37-37 tie, which in all hindsight, the Bengals should have won that game at the end. I don't know how Nugent just missed that field goal at the end. That, to me, was shocking. And he's been pretty consistent. Well, I guess last Sunday he was not. He really did not seem like himself. Anyways, enough about Week 6. Let's talk about Week 7. Key game number 1. The Indianapolis Colts against the Cincinnati Bengals. This game is in Indianapolis, I think. Yeah, it's in Indianapolis. Indianapolis coming off a squeaker last week against the Texans. What can I say about this Colts team? They're playing very, very well, despite they had to play very hard. I mean, they had a 24 nothing lead in the first half of that game, and they let Houston come back. So something tells me their defense is not strong. I don't know what to say. I mean, their defense really is not as good as I thought they were. To borrow a line from Dennis Green, but in all honesty, the Houston Texans, they let them off the hook. Well, anyways, this is a team they have to be reckoned with because they're playing a fairly decent Cincinnati Bengals team, and I know the Bengals haven't played well on the road, but expect this to be a very, very tight game all the way. Indianapolis is, I think, they're favored in this game by 3. Tough to say who comes out of this the victor. I mean, I know the Bengals were trying to get back on a roll after they got embarrassed by New England, and they played to a 37-37 tie against the Panthers last week. So this obviously is going to be a tough game to pick here. I mean, it's going to be offense, and let's see which defense can hold up. It's really a battle of young quarterbacks between Andy Dalton and Andrew Luck. So it wouldn't surprise me if this game ends up being a shootout. But to say who wins this game here, tough one. This is a very tough one to pick here, but I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts because the way they've been playing, they're finally getting their groove on. They're on a roll. And really, the Bengals right now, they're struggling. They're struggling big time. I mean, they struggled in their last 2 games, even though their last game was a tie. But their offense really needs to get back on track. But more likely, it's really in reality, their defense really needs to play much harder than what they've been playing with. I know their defense is battling some injuries, but it's a tough one here. Andrew Luck and the Colts, they've been on a roll, and it's hard for me to go against them in this game. So for this game, I'm going to go with the Colts over the Bengals. Key game number 2. The New Orleans Saints at the Detroit Lions. The Saints are coming off a bye week, and really, hopefully the rest for the New Orleans Saints has been helpful because really their defense right now is a mess. And Rob Ryan's job, no question, is going to be in jeopardy this weekend if they don't come up with a win here against the Lions. Now, the Lions, even though they don't have Calvin Johnson, they had to count a lot on Golden Tate in their last game. They had to count on their last game against the Vikings, and they barely won 17-3, even though that score didn't seem like it was close. But the way the Lions have been playing, they're like a roller coaster. They're like the stock market. They're going up and they're going down. It's tough to say with this football team. Their defense is playing at an exceptional level. They've been able to cut the penalties down, but really their defense is going to need to rise to the occasion here because they're playing a very desperate New Orleans Saints team, and knowing Drew Brees in that offense, they're looking to score points big time. Their defense is going to be put to a test here against Drew Brees in that offense here. It's a tough one here. Detroit's at home, and the odds makers have the Lions as a 3-point favorite. To say who wins this game, I'm going to go with the odds makers here. Yep, I'm going to go with the Lions over the Saints. I just think the Saints defense, they're just terrible. They're not stopping anybody. They're getting into shootouts with the opposition, and if they don't find a way to fix that defense and all that, you could pretty much say their season is over. And I really had the Saints as a top contender in the NFC, but unfortunately, their defense really has been terrible. And I don't know what else to say about this team. Now, I know the Lions are still battling injuries. Calvin Johnson's going to be out for a while. They're going to have to rely a lot on Golden Tate. Their running game still, they need to get their running game going somehow. Their defense has to play much harder against the Saints team. And Detroit's been pretty good. Detroit's only had one home loss. And they've been playing fairly well. They finally got some road wins, but this game they're at home. I'm gonna say the Lions beat the Saints here. I cannot trust the Saints defense here. Rob Ryan's defense, they're just not playing at the level that they should be playing. I don't know what's going on with their defense, but I'm gonna say the Lions beat the Saints. Key game number 3, a big one in the AFC West. The Chiefs at the Chargers. The Chargers are on a roll. They're 5-1. But then again, I'm going to admit as a Chargers fan here, their only statement win they've had all season long was really against the Seahawks. But other than that, they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. I mean, look at the teams that they've beaten so far. I mean, they've beaten Jacksonville. They beat the Raiders last weekend. The teams that they know they should win those games. But this one's a tough one. KC is the Kansas City Chiefs right now. They're coming off a bye. They're coming off a bye week. This is going to be a real barn burner here between these two teams. And there's no question Phillip Rivers and other. I mean, the Chargers are really battling injuries right now, and that defense is going to be put to a test against the Chiefs' running game. Jamal Charles, in his last game, I mean, again in their last game. Well, actually, no. They didn't have a bye week last week. I forgot they played the. Yeah, they were in a bye week. Sorry about that. Sorry about the errors, folks. I mean, like I said, right now I'm trying to keep my mind intact, and I'm looking. I have web browsers up on my screen right now, and I'm looking at the news in the NFL. I'm looking at NFL news and odds makers here. For KC, like I said, their key's going to be going back to the the Chiefs Chargers game. Kansas City, simple. They got to get the running game going. They keep pounding the ball. It's going to be a long game for the Chargers here. No question, this is going to be a very, very close game here. The Chargers offense needs to get it going. They're going to need to rely a lot more on one of their new guys, Oliver. This guy's been playing definitely like Darren Sproles. This guy's really on fire. His last 2 games have been terrific. They're going to need to rely on him a lot more. Their running game is going to have to rely a lot more on Oliver and Ronnie Brown here. I still have no status whether Ryan Matthews is going to come back, so that's really going to hurt their running game. Their passing game right now is hard to say right now. I mean, I think Antonio Gates had a small injury. Eddie Royal was hurt. Was playing hurt, so was Keenan Allen. So it's going to, like I said, this is going to be a real barn burner here between these two teams. Who wins this game? The odds makers have the Chargers a 4-point favorite. I kind of would disagree with that because, like I said, KC's going to be hungry in this game, and it's going to be tough to say who comes out of San Diego a victory here. But I know I'm being biased here, but I'm going to go with the Chargers here by a squeaker. Their defense right now, they really got to find a way to stop the run. They got to stop the Chiefs' running game. If not, it's going to be a very, very close game. No question, it might be a shootout here. But I think the Chargers will beat the Chiefs, but it'll be very close. I probably would say maybe by a field goal, or who knows, maybe by 1 point, maybe. So tough to say who comes out of San Diego victor. This is probably going to be one of the games of the week. No question about that. But we'll wait and see. But for this game, I'm going to pick the Chargers over the Chiefs. And key game number 4. The 49ers at the Broncos. Why do I say this is a big one here? Well, in all retrospect, the odds makers have the Broncos a 6.5-point favorite, so you would figure that this is going to be a long game for the 49ers. But their defense is what's keeping that 49er team intact, so I expect this to be a much tighter game than most people would anticipate. Even though I kind of chuckle at that 6.5-point favorite that the Broncos have, even though the game is in Denver. But the way the 49ers are playing, their defense is finally getting back on track. I know they still have some key players out to injury, but especially with the offense getting going here, Colin Kaepernick is playing fairly well. They ended up destroying the Rams on Monday night. The Broncos coming off a destruction of the Jets. And I know for this game, I know this is a big one too because I know Peyton Manning's trying to go for his record. Will he get it? I really don't know. If the San Francisco's defense, the 49er defense can put a stop to Peyton Manning on the offense here, it's going to be tough to say who comes out of Denver the winner here, but it's hard to go against the Broncos here. I'm going to pick the Broncos in this game. It's going to be a tight game. I think it might be another game of the week here. I'm not going to say that Peyton Manning's offense will basically win on a rout here because he cannot underestimate the San Francisco defense here. I mean, look at what happened in the Super Bowl against the Seattle defense. He underestimated them, and they ended up losing. So, for the Broncos' sake, they know they got to play at a much more higher level. Even though the odds makers have them a high point favorite here, but if San Francisco defense can get on a roll and just force turnovers here, it's going to be a very, very close game here. But I will take the Broncos here. I think the Broncos walk out of Denver the winners here. I think San Francisco, the key players that are missing defensively might hurt them. So this game, it's going to be the Broncos over the 49ers. Anyways, that's it for my picks for week number 7. Go to thesportblog.blogspot.com for all of my week 7 picks. And until then, enjoy your football weekend, and I will see you back next week for talk about week number 8. Until then, take care.